Welcome everyone to this Friday morning. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope everyone's warm and keeping safe. So today we'll be having a Section 12J webinar on a qualifying company called Ngoye. K2 is currently not online. She'll be online in the next few minutes or so, and she'll be presenting the cannabis farm. And then Chris Hart will be presenting from IEV side you can invest your taxes. There's Kate. She's back on.
Good morning, everybody. I apologize for that. We have wild weather in Cape Town, so let's hope that I stay connected with you. So, Tristan, I'm sorry I missed what you'd said before. What I was hoping to do, if it was okay, was to just welcome everybody today and say thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you taking your time out to find out more about this opportunity. What I'd like to ask you to do, please, is to play the short video for us, 2 minutes, just to give people a visual example of what it is we are going to be talking about. And then I'm going to ask Chris to get into explaining the nitty-gritty of what's involved here. And then afterwards, I'll come back and actually talk about more specifics around the project. Thank you, Tristan. A medicinal cannabis project located on the north coast of KZN is presenting you with an opportunity of taking advantage of a 100% tax-deductible investment before 30 June 2021. The medicinal cannabis industry is forecast to be worth over 100 billion rand locally and $46 billion globally by 2026. Ngoye Agriculture is being established on a successful sugar farm that has been in operation since 1917 by the same family, now in its 4th generation. This project diversifies the agricultural output of the farm and creates sustainable employment opportunities for the local community by establishing what will be a world-class facility for the research, cultivation, and production of medicinal cannabis and other botanicals. In South Africa, the medicinal cannabis industry is fully regulated, with every aspect of the cultivation, production, and manufacturing process being controlled. At Ngoye Agri, we are building such a facility. Our vision is to be the largest, most innovative, stable, and profitable organic medicinal cannabis producer in South Africa, with the highest quality botanicals for the pharmaceutical, health, and beauty industries. Through this S12J tax incentive, Ngoye Agriculture are offering you a 15% return over 5 years. This means that your investment is set to double over the next 5-year period. The project build is planned in 3 phases that include the installation of the cultivation area, the process facility, and the research and development area. The second phase is expansion, which will include an additional 4 to 7 hectares of medicinal cannabis and other botanicals. And the final stage is the setup of a fully sustainable eco-lodge and health retreat with conference facilities. Ngoye Agri have partnered with economist Chris Hart and the team at Impact Empowerment Ventures to ensure the success of this venture. To find out more about the project and how you can invest, follow the link provided and attend one of our webinars this week. I'm going to hand back to you and Chris so that you can talk about exactly what we mean when we talk about this S12J investment. And at the end of Chris's presentation, I'll come back and share with you the nitty-gritty about the actual Ngoye Agriculture project. So thank you, Tristan.
Chris, I'm going to let you hand over and take full control of this, and let's jump into it, okay?
Right, thank you very much indeed. I really do appreciate it. And I think that was a lovely introduction, and I'll explain why. Because I'm going to start off and say we're going to prosper through our taxes. And that sounds strange because this is where very often we get what I call as a mental short circuit is how on earth can we get our taxes back and invest it? And this is exactly what Section 12J is about, right? And I know that's where people say it's too good to be true. So the next slide is also to put it in context, is to actually say we are a financial services provider. We are regulated by the Financial Services Conduct Authority and also SARS, the revenue services. And it's important to understand that, because without that, you know, if we were just sort of fly by night, etc., it's not the case. The disclaimer is also to reflect what our financial services provider number is, right? And the venture capital number that you can also do. You can check on SARS's website that it is there, but also to say this is an information session rather than an investment advice session. And that's basically what we want to actually say there. But it's important to know that it comes from a deeply regulated context, and it's not too good to be true. This is something that is already endorsed by these organizations. So what do I want to talk about? I want to firstly talk about Section 12J of the Income Tax Act as it stands. It's actually a fairly simple concept, right? But it does need to be understood. And then I want to just unpack a little bit about what Impact Empowerment Ventures is about and what impact investing is about, and then go into the smart structured solution that we have for Section 12J. So let's start with Section 12J, all right? Is that an investor invests R1 million into a Section 12J venture capital company. You get a Section 12J venture capital company share certificate, which you submit with your taxes, and that then gives you a deduction of your income. It works exactly the same as a retirement annuity, which has been around there forever. And I know nobody has a problem with claiming your retirement annuity from income. You claim your retirement annuity, it's a deduction of your income, and you get some tax back. Section 12J is exactly the same way. So if you invest R1 million, your income is reduced by R1 million. So let's say, for the purpose of this example, you earn R1 million, and of that you're going to pay 400,000 in tax. And the amount of tax you pay will depend on your tax bracket, but let's just use 400,000 as a round number. So you invest R1 million, you put it into the venture capital company, you get R1 million share certificate, and that is R1 million deduction of your income. So your income is R1 million minus the R1 million that you invested in the venture capital company, which means that your income is zero for tax purposes, and SARS gives you the refund of that tax that you paid. So that 400,000 rand comes back to you, and your investment then has only really cost you 600,000 rand. So you get R1 million worth of investment at a cost of 600,000 rand. The minimum investment is R1 million. The maximum is 2.5 million for individuals and 5 million rand for companies. You've got to be invested for 5 years. If you try and take your money out beforehand, you're going to pay all that tax back. When you withdraw your investment, you pay capital gains tax on the exit. So I emphasize it, it's part of SARS's e-filing system, it's part of the tax legislation. It's been around for 12 years. They're now ending this program. At the end of June, it's coming to an end, but we can still sign you up. You can still take advantage of the Section 12J as long as you commit to the investment before the 30th of June. This can be used to fund startups. This project that we're outlining here is a superb project. It's an ongoing operation. In other words, it's an existing farm that's been around for generations, highly successful farm in the northern KZN area that's expanding into the medicinal cannabis growth area. So there's a long track record that we can do in terms of the capability and capacity to actually run. But it is patient capital. So if we park that there and say, this is how you actually invest in 12J, and we find the biggest obstacle for people to invest is, where do you get the R1 million to invest from? So that's where we actually have to come up with a solution. But let's first look at what impact investing is about and what Impact Empowerment Ventures is about. Impact investing is something that's really taking the investment world by it's really growing in importance in the investment space. So when we look at it from a hierarchy of a society of hierarchy of needs, very often the impact investing is targeting the top end of the pyramid, things like environmental issues, green energy, for instance, is an example of an impact investing project, arts, culture, that type of thing. But we actually believe at Impact Empowerment Ventures that the bottom end of the actual needs pyramid is actually what's most relevant for Africa. In other words, jobs creation, food security, housing, education, but also SME ownership. These are important parts of what we're trying to achieve. And we live by this thing called enrich. And we really do believe that there's an opportunity is something that enriches lives. There's nothing worse than the unemployment rate that we've got in South Africa, where the actual hope and the aspirations of our youth are ripped out of their souls because of this high and persistent unemployment that we've got. And so we do believe opportunity is an extremely important factor. And so we use the acronym ENRICH, which stands for Enhanced Risk Controlled Returns. In other words, we want to invest, we don't want to take overdue risk, and we want to get good returns. So enhanced risk controlled returns that creates investment for change and hope. And that's basically what we're trying to achieve as a company. As an investment philosophy, the departure point is commercial merit. Although it's impact investing, it's not a charity. There's space for charity, we support charity, but this is not the space for that charity. Next to that, the commercial merit is the people, the skills, the ability of the people running it. And this is why we like this Ngoye View project. We've got experienced farmers, experienced people that are actually running it, highly knowledgeable, highly capable, and that will actually make quite a big difference in the community. And then you look at risk, and risk is something that we don't believe you run away from. I believe risk is more a matrix. People don't understand the risks they take when they do nothing. All right, so they always look at the risks of what happens when you do something. And we believe that these are what you balance. And we want to embrace risk as a means of actually helping to enhance the prospect of commercial success. In other words, you look at risk and try and manage it and mitigate it as far as possible. And then finally, technology. And technology is an important enabler these days. We've moved into the fourth industrial revolution. And that's an important thing because the whole business model has changed. It's essentially changed from mass production to mass customization, and your large businesses are not geared for that. And so the fourth industrial revolution is actually giving small businesses the opportunity to compete with large businesses for the first time in several decades. And that's why we believe technology is important. And it's not just about the internet, it's the explosion of what's available in terms of the capability and capacity of technology that's enabling in medicine, in agriculture, in various parts that we find important. So that's basically a little bit of a nutshell of what IEV and impact investing is about. How do we actually access the Section 12J investment? As I've said, the big obstacle to people is that it's all very well for me to invest R1 million and get that tax refund. I do want that tax benefit, but I can't access it because I don't have the money to invest. So we come up with the solution, and I'm just got the overall picture of this is that we can lend you the money to invest in this project. And this, when we say we invest, we lend it to you. We write a loan for however much you need. I'm going to use the example of a R1 million loan against R1 million of income. But if you had R2 million of income, we can write a R2 million loan. But I'm going to stick to this for an example. SARS specifically allows you to borrow money to invest. But they really say there's two stipulations. You've got to be at risk, and you've got to pay down the loan. So we're going to deal with that. We're going to meet those requirements. But there's the R1 million loan. That then creates the investment of R1 million. So you've got a R1 million liability against a R1 million asset. But that asset, the investment into the 12J venture capital company, allows you to actually get your taxes back. That 400,000 Rand then goes back against the loan. It pays the loan down. So you're starting to meet the regulatory requirements of paying the loan down. So 1 million rand loan becomes a 600,000 rand loan with 400,000 rand cash in your, let's call it your loan account, right? Because you have to be at risk, we ask for a securing deposit of 25,000 rand that gets used as part of the collateral. So it's a full recourse loan, and we actually signed in what is called a limited collateral loan. We specify the collateral that you have to seed. So it's the share certificates, the 1 million rand investment is one of the sessions that you make. The securing deposit is the other session that you make in this investment. You then seed your tax refunds and any dividends that might be received from the underlying investment. And those are seeded so that that we can make this thing completely compliant. So we've also, at this point, we've got the investment into the venture capital company, right? At this point, we're not taking any risk on that loan, right? So we can write that loan as a zero interest rate loan to the investor, right? Because we're not taking any risk on it and we're not utilizing the loan. And that's why we can write it as a zero interest rate loan, right? And in that way, we've also got it as a Sharia, it meets Sharia compliance requirements as well. We then pass that investment from the venture capital company into the qualifying company, which in this case would be Ngoye, right? And at that point, the qualifying company actually takes responsibility for the loan. They service the interest in any debt when the loan is fully monetized, if that's the case. And in that way, we complete the compliance criteria. I'm going to unpack this over the next few slides just to help clarify in people's minds what this is about. What we've done, we've created an asset of 1 million rand with a 25,000 rand securing deposit. That forms collateral against what was the 1 million rand loan facility, paid down by 400,000 rand in that. And that's where the loan account stands. And basically, it's a zero interest rate loan at this point. This then gets passed into the qualifying investment where the actual loan is monetized and the actual monetizing institution signs the contract with the qualifying company, not with the investor, with the qualifying company. So if something goes wrong, the actual recourse and salvage has shifted to the qualifying company. Right? So what it means is that the investor is limited to a 25,000 rand downside, but considerable upside. What is that upside? We're trying to grow your investment and pay down the debt. So in year one, it might be 400,000 in cash in the terms of the tax refund and 600,000 in debt. By the time year 5 is completed, we wanted to have grown that by at least 10% a year, with the debt being reduced or paid off by that stage. And that then is, that 400,000 rand would be worth more than 600,000 rand, as I say, on the success of the investment. I want to emphasize though, it's like all investors, there's no guarantees. The investment could crash and burn, right, for circumstances beyond our control, and there might be nothing to come out. But what we're trying to emphasize here, the money that came from here, that 400,000 that came from the investor, came from their taxes, right? It did not come from their bank, right? So if they didn't do this investment, it's not like they'd be sitting with 400,000 rand in the bank. It comes from the tax refund, right? So by doing this investment, whatever you get out after year 5 is more than you would have than if you just sat on your hands and paid your taxes. This is the closest thing you're going to get to a free investment. So if I go to the next slide, just to show the picture again, is that's the overall picture. The other slides are just to break it down for the actual, to try and understand the mechanism of this particular asset. So this is a structured Section 12J advantage, and it enables the investor who's earning the money, who's paying the tax, but doesn't necessarily have the actual investment capital available, right? And that's basically the investment. How do we actually access it? In other words, it's fairly simple to access. there's a few steps. One is that there's a commitment to invest form that will be sent to you after this presentation. And then you need to sign and get back. And that's with the FEC and phase documents. There's 4 documents, it's like the proof of residence and your copy of ID, that type of thing, the normal stuff that's required. Then you get the securing deposit in place. That's the 25,000. It must be in before the 30th of June, right? If you don't have the full 25,000, we can take it on terms, but at least something must come into the account before the 30th of June. So let's say it's 22,500 or so. And then we can make terms to actually get the rest of it in. And then in July, we'll complete the rest of the documentation. That's still not a problem. Who can invest? It's companies, trusts, individuals, provisional taxpayers, and also partnerships. I said the minimum investment is R1 million. So you're going to have R1 million of income to actually qualify to invest. What happens if you've only got 600,000 in income? You're still paying quite a lot of tax. We can still access that investment for you. So what if you've got 600,000 income? We can partner you with maybe somebody earning 700,000 who also wants to invest. The incomes, the joint incomes together is over R1 million. The partnership themselves would then qualify, and it's a limited partnership. This is the only thing that would apply in that particular partnership. I want to thank you for your time and attendance. I'm going to leave this last slide on, which gives more contact details. But as I said, we will contact you after this presentation. Thank you very much. I'm going to hand back to Kate. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris, for that. I thought it would be great for everybody to hear from you to get the understanding of how it is we go about doing this investment, a boermarke plan. So we played that little video, even if we had to do it this way. And I just want to take the opportunity to talk a little bit more about the Ngoye View Agricultural Project. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is a couple of pointers on the cannabis industry. Then I'm going to give some information on who Ngoye View Agriculture is and why it's a smart investment when you're dealing with a family and an organization like Impact Empowerment Ventures. A little bit about the team that we've engaged and a couple of pointers on why this investment. So cannabis has been used medicinally for centuries. And there is global research, global clinical research that's been undertaken that shows that cannabis in a medicinal format provides relief from chronic pain, mental illness, epilepsy, and cancer. We now have a number of FDA-approved medicines available in the market that contain cannabis. And the World Health Organization has told us that over 322 million people suffer from depression globally, and those were pre-COVID statistics. Over 50 million people suffer from epilepsy, and many, many millions suffer from chronic pain. When we add to that the health and beauty industry, the fact that mainstream retail stores are carrying CBD products, that you can buy products to take orally, use on your skin, use in your hair, that you can take products that provide you with energy and focus and relief from pain, that tells us this industry is there and it's continuing to grow. The entire aspect of cannabis, medicinal cannabis in South Africa is legislated, and it's important that it is, because that gives us, the organizations growing, protection. It ensures that we provide a quality product through a quality production process, and it protects the end user, the customer, with the product that they are getting. And if I talk a little bit about money, you saw on the slides on that video that globally this industry is worth billions of dollars. In 2019, a report appeared online that showed that the distribution of products containing CBD is close to $1.3 billion annually. And research and development into the testing of products and clinical trials far outweighs around $1.2 billion. Now, as a family, we have been farming for over 100 years. Our farm is now in its 4th generation, and it's a well-established commercial farm. It's well managed. And we have decided, like so many other agricultural organizations in the country, to diversify the crop that we are growing. You'll know that many farmers have gone the route of macadamias. To see a return on investment with macadamias, you are looking at 7 years. To look, there's other organizations that have looked at vegetables, flowers, essential oils. We as a farm are looking at medicinal cannabis and other botanicals for the health and beauty industry. Now, our family, in terms of what we bring to the table, our dad has been farming for 50 years. He's been retiring over the last number of years, and my mum teacher. She's my father along with community upliftment programs, development programs, educational programs. And as a little aside, was awarded the Jean Harris International Award for Community Upliftment and Nelson Mandela's inaugural Community Upliftment Award, something we're very proud of as a family. And this project allows us to continue with our community development by providing sustainable implementation a lot. I am in the position of acting CEO and have lived overseas and worked overseas for 20 years across numerous industries, specializing in training and development, project management, brand development. And along with my brother, Mark, who will be the COO on site for this project, have been working for the last 3 years to get this project off the ground. We are excited. We have networked, we have sourced, we have communicated with the best in the game locally, but more importantly, international, to bring those skills here and develop them further in South Africa. Our parents said, well, we all wanted to be farmers growing up, but our parents said to us very clearly that we would need to be educated, we would need to gain other qualifications and make our way in the world before we were ever able to look at coming back to farming. So Mark studied to become a mechanical and electrical engineer, and he worked for Bell's Engineering, amongst other places, and he's designed and developed equipment, and he's designed and built a factory. So in the time that he's been at the farm taking over from our dad, he has not only increased the tonnage output of the crop on the farm, but he's also increased the sucrose levels. So he's increased the quality of the product that was already pretty darn good. He's working with a farm manager, and that person will be taking over those responsibilities from him so he can focus solely on the medicinal cannabis project. In addition to that team, and it's important I'm telling you this because I'm going to talk about why we're partnering with Chris and Impact Investment Employment Ventures, because it's important for you to know that you're not just working with a family. But I'd like to mention Patrick, our brother who lives in the UK. He's in the investment division of BNP Paribas and works for them as a project manager. Now, while he's not here and physically on the ground with us, he is acting as a sounding board and helping us with project oversight, because his key experience at that level of industry is reviewing legal and compliance oversight. And he delivers large-scale market programs for BNP Paribas. Penelope, the last of us kids, is a qualified teacher, but more importantly, for the last number of years, she has been working in the high-end hospitality industry, in lodges, retreats, and spas. And that's important when you look at what our projected growth and our projected expansion is for this project. Now, we've engaged our licensing consultants, highly regarded and experienced. They're hugely successful, and they've helped a number of organizations with their licensing in South Africa. And we've engaged EU GMP consultants for the development of our Europe standard good manufacturing facility. And our team that we've engaged are known as a specialist grow team of master growers, led by a specialist grower out of Canada with over 40 years of commercial growing experience, his team. And they will be coming here. They also bring with them the most incredible strains and research and development into medicinal cannabis for the pharmaceutical industry. Now, why this investment? Just very quickly to reiterate what Chris had said. We're diversifying the crop on the farm. It's a going concern. It's been around for over 100 years. We're offering you an investment with huge merit. You have the opportunity to get in at the ground level in a medicinal cannabis organization. That means you are helping us with this next stage of what we've already achieved on site to get us to license. And you've got the best possible share price now. After the 30th of June, when the S12J is no longer available, we will be working with Chris and his team at Impact Empowerment Ventures to look at other share options. And the reason we've done this is we want you to feel secure in the investment that you're making, because we've brought an incredible organization on board to manage your funds, to work for you, the investor. You are actually investing with them, and they are providing oversight from a financial perspective to this project to ensure that operations and we as an organization function to the best of our abilities to secure your investment. Our farm is 270 hectares, so that gives us considerable growth opportunities. But our next phase of expansion will be 4 to 7 hectares, and then the Eco Lodge, Health Retreat and Spa. So thank you again for taking the time to sit with us today and find out more about what it is we're bringing to the table. I'm available to take any questions if anybody has any, Tristan, but otherwise I think it would be a great idea for people to be able to follow up afterwards. And thank you again.
Thank you, Kate, for that. We don't have much time, so if you've got a quick 1 or 2 questions, maybe we can get that in. But in the meantime, while I'll just be stating this, we will be sending out a recording and presentation plus documents, like Chris said earlier on, to everyone that was attended or that did register for this. So that is also awesome, that if anyone missed, they can also follow up. You can contact Impact on many different various social media platforms. I did put our website there, so you can contact us on our email or so forth.